Hey, and welcome to the socially distant virtual tour of my Chevy P30 step van. This is a food truck coffee cart that I built to the Multnomah County Health Department's Class 3 specification. For more information about that, check out the links that I dropped in the description. Now over the next 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to cover a lot of information, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe for our newest updates and latest content. Alright, sit back and enjoy the tour. Let's start with a cold start demonstration of all our systems on board. The generator is an Onan Marquee Gold 5500 watt. It runs off of LP gas. The entire truck runs off of LP gas, both the engine and the generator. It is both quiet, very low in vibration, and coming in at 60 decibels of volume. Everything on board is either controlled by these fuses or by GFCI outlets. Let's plug in our Bun VPR coffee machine and get this thing rolling. This is a 1500 watt unit that is capable of making approximately 40 cups an hour. Let's get our hand sink going. Our EcoSmart mini hot water heater is controlled remotely. It's also plumbed in with NSF approved materials and connections. It's 12 amp, 1.5 gallon hot water heater and is very effective at bringing hot water to temperature. Our hand sink is connected to our 3 compartment sink, which are both NSF approved and designed to be used in commercial environments. These are fed by a 42 gallon fresh water tank, pressurized at 45 psi. Each basin is equipped with a little thermometer and is labeled in correct washing order. Let's do a little test, shall we? I should note that throughout this video, we're going to bring into play our FLIR thermal imaging camera in order to verify some of our temperatures that we're going to be taking. There are 2 levels magnetically attached to the wash station. These are used to set up the optimal pitch for perfect draining. We're going to let this thermometer dwell underwater for a while. We'll check back in it shortly to make sure that it's reading close to the same as our FLIR thermal imager. By now, our coffee machine boiler is up to temperature. Let's get that thing started to brew. Let's take a carafe of water into the rear to the Primo water dispenser. Keep a little bit higher quality water in this dispenser for all of our product. Ultimately, we're trying to prevent scale in the internals of our coffee machine, our espresso machine, and our handheld boilers. I think this also leads to a little bit better taste. As you pour the fresh water over the top of the coffee machine, preheated water in the reservoir instantly starts brewing. Make sure you've got a fresh filter of grounds loaded up and an empty pot in the base position. You can also turn the burner on at this point in order to keep the product warm. Microwave, coffee machine, 2 handheld boilers, portable carafe, and grinder all sit aboard this 304 stainless steel 9-drawer locking compartment. The drawers not only lock for security, but also to secure everything from rattling around during travel. Let's take a look inside. We've got plenty of bright shiny stainless in here to help out with organizing and storage. Even the drawer comes out as a single piece for ease of cleaning. This countertop, as well as these drawers, really make cleanup simple. Alright, let's check back in on our hand sink. Looks like we're getting a reading from the thermometer of about 116 degrees, which is rather hot, almost too hot to wash your hands with. As the coffee keeps brewing, you want to just keep on filling up the carafes, replacing an empty carafe in the lower, pouring a fresh pot over the top. The internal reservoir will have preheated water, and it's pretty much going to brew as fast as you can pour fresh water and replace the grounds. Let's put our electrical system under a little bit harder of a load to demonstrate a little electrical test here. I'm going to fill up one of our handheld boilers. So we've got our handheld boiler under load, our coffee machine and lower burner, as well as our hand washing and ware washing hot water heater. Our dish drying rack is equipped with a little 12-volt fan to blow fresh air and speed up the drying. It also has a little drain funnel to direct any water back off the dishes into our water containment system. Now for a look at the crown jewel of our rig. our espresso station. Got a S1 Mini Vivaldi 2 double boiler espresso machine. It's 15 amp with a removable drip tray and water reservoir. Water reservoir is 3 liters. Fill this up in our Primo water dispenser and get this thing rolling. Now before we power this up, we want to make sure to switch off our hot water heater for our hand washing and ware washing sink. We don't want to run our generator at 100% capacity, as that will lead to premature failure. Remember to use that handy little remote control to turn off the hot water heater before powering up the espresso. The espresso machine simply draws a lot of power, but hey, that's what makes the coffee so good. The important thing here to remember is we don't want to start tripping switches and flipping breakers, as well as just overworking our generator. Look at that. Flirter's got it at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. What a little workhorse. For doing other drinks, like an Americano, we're going to use the hot water feature on the Primo water dispenser. This will help to preserve the water in the espresso reservoir. I figure it's a more economical way of doing things. Before we begin our dishwashing demonstration, we want to either make sure our espresso station has reached a stable temperature or is put into standby mode. This can easily be done before bringing our hot water heater back up to temperature. Remember to use that little remote control, it's there for a reason. The wash basin is filled to the point to where our largest items will be fully submerged. This is currently sitting at about 124 degrees. We've also got a built-in air gap feature for our sink station. This helps to preserve sanitary conditions when washing our dishes. With the sanitizer basin located at the highest point of the pitch, each time a dishwashing station is used, it is flushed with a sanitizer solution. This air gap prevents backflow where a dish sink is contaminated by our water holding system. Our water holding tanks are all vented, and the gray water tank consists of 2 25-gallon vessels, one located below the sink and one located below deck. This water is easily transferred by using our gray water switch. And again, all of the tanks have a control valve on the vent. When you're in transit, it's important to close these valves. Alright, still with me? Let's check out some of the more modern features of the rig. The lights are controlled through a Bluetooth mobile app, and there are several modes. It can also be synced with music to create a nice vibe. And look at the way all this stainless catches the reflection. Isn't that nice? At this point, it's worth mentioning, the floors are a life-proof linoleum vinyl plank that's scratch-proof and water-resistant. The color choice is called Silver Maple. How about these then? This is our ARB Elements Weatherproof Fridge. It's equipped with all sorts of cool features. They've been specifically designed for tough off-road conditions. Most people choose to drop these outside their vehicle, say in the bed of their truck, and use them for hunting, boating, and fishing, where you may want to store beverages or possibly meats. We chose to take 2 of them, bolt them down to this NSF-approved rack, and put them to work in a commercial environment. They operate off of both 110-volt AC and 12-volt DC, and they're both powerful enough to be operated as freezers. They each have a 63-liter capacity, which is enough to store 90 12-ounce cans each. Another feature they come with is a locking lid. This can be activated from the digital touchscreen. It's both convenient and secure. Here we have the unit fully powered down. Both our fridge and our freezer are running on 12-volt DC power, fed by our 400-watt solar array up on the roof. They both come equipped with inline switches and fuses. The bottom freezer is set at 1 degree Fahrenheit, but I've noticed from the top lid design that the bottom of the unit seems to get a bit cooler than the top. Let's take a look inside with the floor and see what we find. As you can see, I'm getting an average reading of about 1 degree Fahrenheit. Not exactly sure how sensitive the flare camera is, but but I do know that it is no problem to make ice cubes in this thing. Both of these units are wired into two 115 amp hour batteries wired in parallel, giving us clean 12 volt DC power. This is connected to our solar charge controller as well as our 1500 watt inverter. All of this is bolted in structurally to the floor, and currently on Halloween, semi-cloudy day, we're receiving a charge of 13.8 volts. The whole system is fused with a 100 amp fuse for the solar array, as well as a separate 100 amp fuse for the battery charge controller coming from the engine. It's got its own light, and the entire cabin is vented to the outside for any off-gassing of the batteries. Both our fresh water and our gray water can operate on 12 volt DC power, as well as our refrigerator, Fridge 1, and our freezer, labeled Fridge 2. Anything with one of these small inline switches is wired into the 12 volt DC system and can operate without the use of the generator. This includes our auxiliary lighting system, which works both in red and white. These mid-cabin LED banks that also work with the Bluetooth application provide a durable, hassle-free lighting solution. With all of these LEDs wired into the solar system, this is guaranteed to last a very long time. Back at the rear of the cabin, we have our customer service window. Take note of the socially distant acrylic barrier to provide safety for customers and employees alike in this current situation. Above the customer counter, we have our display sign. Using the included software, the program is run from a computer and uses a USB drive to transfer the file onto the sign. There really are hundreds of different settings, backgrounds, and fonts to choose from. I happen to like just a pretty simple message, really. Just the Barter, Brew, follow, the coffee sign, Instagram, let people know we're using Bitcoin, that kind of thing. Today, as we're shooting, it happens to be Halloween, so I thought I'd add a happy Halloween message to my sign. Aside from our socially distant customer counter, we've also got a place to post all our permits and signage, as well as 2 fire extinguishers ready to go in the event of an emergency. Well, that about concludes the tour. I thought I should mention one more time to subscribe to the channel for updates on our ideas for the business. I'd like to build a little tip jar cream and sugar counter outside the rear passenger window, or possibly even relicense as a full-on Class 4, with the addition of some more equipment. Thanks again, and I appreciate you watching.